I'll tell you another big piece of marketing is getting Kenny Omega back. I'm fascinated as to how this happened because I was told, I'll say this. It was very clear he was working for something in our interview in June because, one, he had been out of action for months and months and months. Somebody hits me up and says, you want to interview Kenny Omega? And I go, what kind of question is that, first off? Like, you don't even ask me.
You just said no.
You tell me when. I left a funeral early to interview Kenny Omega on that day. Respect. Like, it was, yes, R.I.P. R.I.P. my neighbor Jane. But it was very clear something was going on there because he was kindly burying Will Ospreay. He was saying such nice things in that unique way that Kenny Omega does it. And I said to him out loud, Kenny, you know this is going to be the headline. I'm telling you it's going to be the headline. So when you get on Twitter and say, didn't expect that to be the headline, you're going to know. And he goes, well, let me dig myself out of this hole. Then he buries him even more. He buries him even more. So it's very clear he had some sort of idea way back in June. However, a lot of stuff happened between June and now that could have thrown that into question. What was that process like, even getting Kenny approved?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good question. Let me think back. So, obviously, yeah, Kenny kind of knew where he wanted to go storyline wise, but the pieces of the puzzle really put together. I think Kenny kind of like foresaw, probably not knowing when it could actually happen, but like maybe in the next year. Okay, sure. Forbidden Door, they're missing Forbidden Door, or Kenny wasn't going to be a Forbidden Door because he was injured. So
it was to promote that. Sorry to interrupt,
right?
But it was to promote.
Forbidden
Door. Yeah,
yeah. So he was probably thinking way ahead, not knowing like probably when this was going to happen. But like I think that's just kind of shows the genius of Kenny Omega and kind of like. He's kind of thinking long term always. Like he's the type of guy who's playing chess while everybody's playing checkers, 100%. So then obviously when the conversation starts to happen, like could this be a matchup at Wrestle Kingdom? Yes, maybe, possibly. We start getting the ball rolling. Then all of a sudden, the Elite Punk thing happens, and then now it's like. Nobody knows. But if he does come back, most likely he can probably do Wrestle Kingdom in time. But nobody knew for whatever, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it was. I mean, it felt like forever. And, everybody was pretty stressed out about it because obviously that's one of the key matches to Wrestle Kingdom this year. So, been a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Sean, actually, this year. It's been kind of crazy.
It has been crazy. People getting bit, getting fired, like all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
Right.
So did that suspension slow things down? And like, because I mean, that seems like an integral period, or did things really get rolling after that was up?
So it definitely put a pause on things.
Mm-hmm.
There was definitely a pause on things because nobody really knew what was going to happen and what the timeline was going to be.
Sure.
Realistically, just everybody was just like, and I didn't want to be like the person pushing and prying and being like, hey, well, don't forget, like too much, because obviously it was a very sensitive subject.
Yes.
And, what everybody went through with that, it just wasn't a good situation for anybody. So obviously, like, it was a touchy subject. So I don't want to be like, hey, well, what about us, Wrestle Kingdom? So, but yeah, thank God, it just kind of all unfolded and then unfolded quickly. And we're able to get back on track like super quick. And, Kenny's manager, Barry, is just super great to work with. We worked with him when we did the Jericho deal previous. So there was a good relationship there. Yeah, Barry Bloom. Yeah. So there's good relationship there. And he, was great about communicating between AEW and New Japan as well. And just like, keeping everybody on track. Be like, Barry, okay, we have like, 4 weeks to get this done. So, let's do it. And also because there was a lot of trust there and built before, it was easy to work with, like, because putting a deal like that together in 4 weeks, a lot of moving parts, contract going back and forth, like all the red tape behind it. It's, it takes time,
yes.
It takes a lot of time. So but enough trust that like, okay, we know where we're going. We know this is our end goal. We're going to make it happen either way. We're going to make sure that everybody's happy on when we get there, but like, it's going to take a little time. And obviously with the situation with the guys being, you know, suspended or out or whatever you want to call it, definitely didn't help, at all,
Sure.
but you know, we got there.